Welcome to the Top Listing Agent Show, the place to be to stay on the cutting edge of what it takes to sell more homes in less time. Each week, your host, Chadi Bazzi, will share with you the best skill sets, systems, and strategies so you can become a top listing agent. And now, let the show begin.
Welcome to the Top Listing Agent Show. This is your host, Chadi Bazzi. Today, I am super excited to have a great guest by the name of Chad Goldwasser. Someone that this is pretty much our first time actually having a real conversation. But you're someone I've been connected to on Facebook for I don't know how many years, but I know your name, I know your face, I know who you are. We've been connected. I know part of your story, which I'm sure you'll share part of your story, etc. And last week, social media just brought us right back together. And we entered into a little dialogue via Facebook Messenger. And I was like, Chad, I think you would be someone who can inspire our audience and make a difference for the people in the real estate community. And I'd love to have you as a guest here on the Top Listing Agent Show. He agreed, and here we are. So, Chad, tell them who you are, what do you do, where are you located, and give us a little rundown about your awesomeness.
Yeah, my awesomeness. I like that. Like you said, my name's Chad Goldwasser. I live in Austin, Texas. I own a company called Pure Gold Realty. It is a 25-person brokerage. I have been in real estate since I was 24 years old, which was 21 years ago now. I got in, I was working as a bartender, working behind a bar, earning about $3 an hour plus tips. And I decided to get into the real estate business and invest in real estate. And the reason I did that, like I said, was to invest in properties. But as I sat in those classes, I looked around at the 100 other people that were in those real estate classes, and I thought to myself, if they can sell real estate, I for surely can. And I got my license. I went to work for a brokerage called Prudential Owens Realty. I was 24, working full-time at the bar, going into the office every day, calling expired listings for sale by owners. And 3 months after getting my license, I had my first listing. It was a mobile home an hour outside of Austin, Texas. And the seller was quite an ass. The bottom line was I wasn't experiencing much success. And I ended up, I was studying and learning and understanding the market. So I was constantly previewing homes and going on property tours and learning neighborhoods. And as I was on one of those property tours, I met a gentleman that changed my life forever. His name's James Willoughby, and he would be another great guest for you. But he said, I'm looking for a buyer's agent. And I said, just tell me what you need me to do. And I went to work for him. And he gave me a book called 30 Days to Success as a Buyer's Agent in Real Estate. It was written by Howard Brinton. I'm sure you know who Howard Brinton was, Star Power Universities. And I ended up getting I went through this whole book, closed my first deal a month and a half later, and got super passionate about real estate. And my first full year with him, I was able to sell 67 properties. It was like life-changing. I was a 25-year-old kid. I went from making $2.17 an hour plus tips to having $20,000 months. And my life changed forever. I started seeing things much bigger than I had ever seen them before, and started setting bigger goals. And then I went on my own. I stayed with RE/MAX for 7 years. I set a goal to become #1 in Austin, Texas. I did that. And then I moved over to Keller Williams in 2005. Started building my own team. I had about 6 people on my team, 3 agents, 3 admin. And then when I moved to Keller Williams, I brought on 10 more agents, buyer's agents, and really started cranking up and focusing on my listing lead generation. And then 2007, we closed 543 deals. We were #1 worldwide for Keller Williams. I guess that would have been 9 years into my career. And the 2008, we were #1 again. And that's when I left and launched my own company, Goldwasser Real Estate, started building my brokerage, went through an embezzlement, divorce, lost all my agents, blah, blah, blah. Basically wanted to not do anything anymore besides lay in bed and have a pity party. And I snapped out of that and started kicking butt again. And now I own a company called Pure Gold Realty. Like I said, I've got about 25 agents. I am still fully engaged in helping people buy and sell real estate. I then teach and train all my agents. And I have an amazing partner who is also my fiance. And we love working together. We love what we do, and we love serving people. And that's a brief encapsulation of my history.
Wow, that's like a lot of gold. That's a lot of gold right there. You know, pure gold.
Yeah.
That is awesome. All right, so when you first got involved in real estate, your first year, okay?
Yeah.
You know, you went directly in the beginning. If I heard you right, you went directly after for sale by owners and expireds, right?
Yes.
It took a couple of months for you to get that first listing, an hour away, horrible seller, etc. Did you end up sticking with calling for sale by owners and expireds, or did you give up on it back then?
I gave up on it, and I went to work as a buyer's agent for James Willoughby. And so basically I was only representing buyers. He was one of the top agents in Austin at the time. And so I was given tons of leads. I was doing open houses every weekend. I was prospecting. I was visiting builders. I was calling old lead cards from builders. I was just doing, like, I did not care. I was so, I mean, going from making $3,000 a month to making $20,000 to $30,000 a month, I was excited as heck.
Good.
And
you were hungry. You were hungry. You wanted that success.
Yeah.
You were given an opportunity and you just ran with it.
Absolutely. And so I've always, still to this day, believed heavily in prospecting. But yeah, the answer to your question is I did not stick with actually working with for sale by owners and expired listings.
Got it. Do you work with for sale by owners and expireds right now?
No.
No, you don't personally. What about the people on your team? Do they call for sale by owners and expireds? Do you guys work those at all?
I teach, so I teach a lot of things. I have what I call my lead generation wheel. And then the spokes in that wheel are what make my business strong. And those spokes are what I do for lead generation. And expireds and for sale by owners are some of the spokes, but they're not a spoke that I concentrate on specifically. And I don't really push it on my agents a whole lot. I've got a couple of them that are interested in doing it. It takes a lot of work. And in Austin, Texas, there are not as many expired listings just because we are in one of the hottest markets in the country. So this is no excuse for any of you out there that are thinking about doing it, do it. But everybody, there's 50 people that call these expired listings the day they get on anywhere in this country. That's the case. But it's just not an area that I really focus on.
Got it. So what are you guys on track for this year? How many deals will you guys do this year?
Our goal this year is to do 50 million in sales. That will equal probably about how many deals, babe? 250 maybe.
Okay, so 250 deals this year, about $50 million in volume, which is a big number for most of the people who are watching this show right now.
Yeah, to me, it's a small number, and it's but I'm rebuilding. There's a whole story behind that, but it's a huge number. It's a great number. But as you know, because I know who you are in terms of a person and your character, I'm always striving for more.
That's right. That's right. So let's talk about that. You said you're always striving for more. This is a statement that a lot of people throw out, like, you know, I'm always striving for more. I always want more. But the average person, for them, is just something that they say and not something that they live.
Yes.
You know, you are someone, like I said, you know, watching you from the outside for quite a while. And, you know, you've shared a lot of stuff on Facebook, you know, that, you know, I've watched and saw and read, etc. And that's a true statement for you. How do you keep yourself in that mentality of like, I want more, I deserve more, you know, I've seen the bottom, I want to be at the top. How do you keep that going?
Yeah. I am extremely self-motivated. Gary Keller, when I was with Keller Williams, when I was #1 at KW, I had a lot of personal one-on-one time with Gary Keller, and he taught me about having a big why. I know you know about this, but he taught me thinking powered by a big why. Most successful people have they're thinking powered by a big why. He taught me, he basically said to me, once you make enough money, you're going to need something bigger than yourself and bigger than just making money to push you to get out of bed every single morning at 5 a.m. to go do what you do. You're going to need something bigger. And so in 2004, I came up with my why. I wrote it on 8/8 of 2004. It's right there. It's on a little laminated sheet along with my affirmations and my business plan on the other side. And I read through that every single caveat star by this, every single day of my life. I read through that. The caveat and the star is not every single day, but most every single day of my life. I read through that to remind myself why I'm doing what I'm doing, why I'm willing to pick up the phone when I don't want to, why I'm willing to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning if need me to go get my exercise done, to do my reading, to do my personal growth plan, all of those things. I'm constantly reminding myself, why am I doing it? And a huge part of that is my family and my children and my fiance, and, you know, just making my family proud of who we are as people.
Awesome. So you're self-motivated. Okay.
Yes.
Now, the average person is not self-motivated.
Yeah.
What would you say to that person? What kind of advice would you give them for them to, like, you know, because the average person, they pump themselves up and they go through a process, and then, you know, nighttime comes around and they're excited about waking up the next morning to go to work, and then they end up sleeping in, and then they feel like crap, and then they're like, I'll do it again tomorrow, etc. And it's just a pattern that they run through every single day, where people like you and I, you know, we are clear on our why. We know exactly what we want to do. We know exactly why we want to do it. And we don't even need an alarm clock to get us out of bed every single morning to go out there and fight for our dreams. What kind of advice would you give the other person who's trying to be more like how we are?
Get around other people that are motivated. If you are in the real estate business, and I assume we're talking to a lot of real estate people, if you are in the real estate business and you are not motivated personally by yourself, or you cannot find accountability within yourself, go to a company such as like my company, right? Is I try to motivate, inspire, and bring all of my people together and get them around each other and create a culture of performance, positivity, and getting things done. So find somebody. You're a perfect person for this because you do coaching, right? So find yourself a coach, find yourself an accountability group, find yourself a mastermind group, a partner that will push you, because believe me, it's not easy getting up at 4 in the morning to go run and go work out at 5:30 in the morning. And so I have 2 guys that I am accountable to at my workouts in the morning. I have a whole team of people that I'm accountable to here. So I am self-motivated, but I also need people to push me. So get around great people that will push you, hire a coach, do whatever you need to do.
Got it. Great advice. Great advice. You are a product of your environment, and you're responsible for the environment that you put yourself in. And, you know, just being around other people that are constantly doing something, it rubs off on you. You know, for some people, they get it right away. For some people, it takes a little bit of time, but great advice. So in here in the Top Listing Agent Group, because we are, you know, going live inside the Top Listing Agent Group, there's a lot of people out there that you could reach out to and connect with. I mean, look, me and Chad, how did we meet? Through Facebook.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people who are like, you know, friends of mine right now are people that we connected online. So the people that, you know, you can, like, there's people you can hang out with in person in your marketplace. But nowadays with technology, we can have like a virtual hangout, a virtual mastermind, a virtual meeting, a virtual connection. So you don't have to connect with people just in your marketplace. You have access to a ton of people here inside of the Top Listing Agent Facebook group.
I think that's awesome. And I completely agree with you.
Good. So look, a lot of people, say that, your success in real estate is like 90% mental. Would you agree with that statement?
Oh my God. I would agree with that statement 100%. And I would say 93% to 95% is your mental game. When I got to #1 with Keller Williams, people were asking me, how do you do it? What are you doing? And they would literally pull me over in the halls at the conferences that we'd go to. And I would tell them it's massively positive energy and an incredible attitude. And they'd be like, no, seriously, what is it? And I would tell them, listen, I can teach you lead generation, how to list a home, how to work with the buyer, scripts and dialogues, objection handling, how to hold an open house. But if you don't get that part and you don't focus on your mindset first, you will never reach your potential. And so, like I showed you earlier, I learned this, affirmations, reading through my why, having a wake-up thought, visualization, a personal growth plan, reading, listening to great people like yourself, Chadi. Chadi? How do you want me to pronounce that?
The second one sounded better. Chadi.
So anyways, it's the first part of my day every single day. I teach my agents here, utilize affirmations, plant seeds of greatness within that fertile bed of soil that is our unconscious mind, because those things will grow. And people would be like, no, well, how does that actually work? And I would tell them, #1, if your attitude is positive and energizing and passionate and fun, you will attract other people to you. #1 thing that's most important about your energy and your mindset. #2, if you have an incredible positive attitude, I breathe life into deals. Like if a deal is 99.9% challenging, I utilize what I call the 0.01% principle, which means that if 99% of that deal is challenging, I focus on the 0.01% that is good, and I get the other agent focusing on that. I get the other buyers focusing on that. I get my sellers focusing on that, and I breathe life into deals. That's how your attitude can make you money.
Awesome. So you mentioned a lot of things within that. You said, your visualization. You said, your why, your affirmations, all that stuff. If you were to tell somebody right now who's like, someone who is admitting, hey, I don't have the most positive attitude, or my positive attitude is on and off, okay, and I want to be on more often. What are like 3 things that you would tell somebody that they need to do every single day in order for them to sharpen their mindset and sooner than later just become more positive and have a better attitude overall? What kind of advice would you give somebody for that?
#1, create a mindset workout for yourself. And so the #1 thing I would tell you is utilize affirmations. It's cliche to some people. They're like, yeah, whatever. But the truth is, when I was 24 years old, I was a kid with a goofy history, goofy childhood. I did not have a college degree. I was a bartender. I was making $3 cents an hour, $3 and some cents an hour. And I got into real estate, and I learned about this in that 30 days to success, to utilize affirmations, visualization, and train my unconscious mind. And 21 years later, as you can see, I still have them laminated, and I go through them every single day. So #1 thing, implement affirmations. #2, to stay positive, read motivating material. My goal every single day as part of my business plan, it's, I think right here under personal growth, it says read 30 minutes per day. I try to read at least 30 minutes per day, something motivating, something positive, something about attitude. #3 is I would shut the radio down in your car. I am a hugely passionate music fan. I love music. In the first 15 years I was in real estate, I did not listen to music in my car. I had Chadi, Bazzi's How to Handle Objection Handling in my car. I had Dirk Zeller's Overcoming Obstacles. I had Brian Tracy, Tony Robbins, Grant Cardone, I mean, that was all that was emanating from my speakers in my car. So have a personal growth plan. Fill your mind constantly with positivity, because the world in general will not do that for you. Did I get three?
That's three. You said three perfect ones. You said number one, affirmations.
Yes.
Okay. Number two,
Read.
And number three is listen to positive audios. You know, now we have Audible, the application Audible. We have
Yes.
you know, we have access. We have podcasts. I mean, you don't even need to pay money for all these audios. You can get them, you know, for free. I want to go back to the affirmations, okay?
Yeah.
Because I believe that my life is a product of my affirmations. Like pretty much everything.
Boom.
Like everything I affirm, like eventually becomes a reality. Okay. Growing up, I'm an introvert. I'm very shy. I had low confidence, low self-esteem, and I was able to turn all that around by affirmations, because one of my mentors way back then said to me, Shadi, every single liar eventually believes their lies. And I get that, when you first invent an affirmation, in the back of your mind, your mind says to you, well, who are you trying to fool? That's not real. Okay.
Yeah.
But the repetitive of it is eventually you begin to believe it. Like if you tell yourself every single day, I am positive or I am powerful, eventually, like, you're just going to believe that. You'll begin to walk as if you are more powerful. You'll begin to speak as if you are more powerful. And then people begin to perceive you and experience you as more powerful. So for those of you out there who are listening to this podcast and or watching this video right now, make a list of 10, maybe 15 affirmations and read those affirmations. In the beginning, I would say read them once in the morning, once in the afternoon, once again at nighttime, until you got them fully memorized and make them a part of who you are. So that right there is like you said, it's like people think it's like cliche, easy to do, and it doesn't really work, etc. So they take it for granted, but they don't realize that the real magic to success isn't in doing the most difficult things. It's in mastering the basic things.
Yeah, absolutely. And I tell it to my agents this way, because I teach this to every single agent that comes into my company, is you can do this once. You can do it once and you may feel good when you're doing it. But do it for 20 years and you will become what you talk about. My suggestion for all of you out there is write them in the I am form, right? Like I am. And I'll just tell you this, chat. I have Shadi. Is that I have been saying to myself for 21 years, I am the best at what I do. And my buddy said to me, well, I get it. What's the science behind it, right? I get that it's smart to do it. I get that. And I said, it's that if I'm walking around this world, most people walk around with what? Fear, doubt, anxiety, worry. They don't believe in themselves, right? I walk around believing I'm the best at what I do. And therefore, if I'm saying to myself over and over and over again, I am the best at what I do, and I walk around and I believe that, and it's 5 o'clock on a Thursday afternoon, and I have not made my 20 phone calls to my sphere of influence, will the best at what he does leave the office and go to the bar? No, he will stay and do his 20 calls, right? It pushes us to do the work, because then we start thinking, hey, if I'm the best at what I do, I better preview those 10 homes for my open house. I better work on that script and dialogue. I better do all the activities I need to do to be successful.
Love it. So in regards, I want to stay on those 3 points for a little bit, because like you said, 93 to 95%, it's all mental. Okay.
Yeah.
We talked about affirmations. They know exactly how to create affirmations right now. They see exactly why they need to do it. What about books? Can you recommend like one book that you would say had the greatest impact on you becoming the successful man that you are?
John Maxwell, Thinking for a Change. John Maxwell, The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. Norman Vincent Peale, The Power of Positive Thinking.
Okay, that's 3 right there, guys. So for those of you guys who haven't read those books, make sure you pick them up. Make sure you read them. What about an Audible or something that they can listen to in the car? Like one program that everybody should definitely go download immediately and listen to it right now.
Anything by Tony Robbins for me is powerful. He has, what is it called? I have it in the other room. I can't.
Power Within?
Yes, Unleashing the Power Within.
Okay.
That's an awesome one. Anything by Brian Tracy, anything by Tom Hopkins. My one other book suggestion, not on the mindset necessarily side, is How to Master the Art of Selling, which is in my opinion, Bible of being a great salesperson, written by Tom Hopkins.
How to Master the Art of Selling by Tom Hopkins. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Very, very, very good suggestions. I had a question that came in right here on the Facebook Live. Christian says, where did you get the idea to come up with your why? Like, how do you tap into discovering your why?
Okay. So number one thing, it was Christian?
Yeah, Christian Medina.
Hey, Christian Medina. I hope you're having an awesome day. There is a book written by Gary Keller. It is called The Millionaire Real Estate Agent. It was written about 15, 20 years ago, changed my life completely. In there, he has an entire section devoted to thinking powered by a big why. I would buy that book. I would read the whole thing, but I would go to that section where he talks about creating your big why. And basically what I did was in 2004, August 8th, I went I got up early in the morning. I went through my mindset exercises. I went for a run. I cleared my head. I went to the coffee shop. I read something inspiring. And then I read that part of the book and I started going through his process, okay, of, how he says, why are you doing this? And I say, I'm doing it because I want to make a lot of money. Why? Because I want security for my family. Why? Because why? You keep asking yourself that. And then I broke it down into a paragraph. And I'll share it with you right now if that's okay, Chadi.
Yeah, I'd love it, man. We're open here.
It's simple. It just says, I'm doing what I'm doing because God gave me the tools and presented me with the opportunity to make a huge difference in this world. I have the ability to be the best at what I do because I understand it. I have a major passion for it, and I have absolute and utter belief in myself and my team. I want my children, my wife, and all of my family to have total freedom of choice to do what they want to do. I want to positively impact the lives of everyone I touch, especially those whom I love the most. I want to give back to those who love me, support me, and believe in me so that they may live a life they never thought possible. I want to create positive change as much as I can and make the world a better place. I will always strive to be the very best I can be. And most of all, I want my family to be proud of who I am. So that's what I wrote. And that right there is really inspiring to me. And I read it, like I said, every single day of my life just to remind myself, hey, this is the mission you're on, buddy. So keep kicking ass.
Love it. Love it. Thank you for sharing that. You're not holding back and you're sharing that on a personal level. And that's where I want to speak about that for a second, because I was talking to somebody yesterday who had a discovery. Let's call it a discovery. They discovered like this new tool that is going to benefit their business. And I was like, I want to share that with my community. And that person immediately said, hold on a second. I didn't share that with you to go share it with the world. This is like my little thing right now. And then, there's, someone like you is just like, the way that we roll is we share everything. Okay. And I know there's a lot of people who have that mindset of like, don't want to share because they want to hold on to something. What do you say to that person?
I say that that's a scarcity mindset. There's plenty of opportunity out there for all of us. I love to share. I love to inspire. I love to motivate. When you said I'd love to do this podcast with you, I was like, your volume.
You need to turn up you did something.
Sorry. Is that better?
Welcome back. Yes.
Okay. I would tell them that's a scarcity mindset, and there is an abundance of opportunity in this world. And so I will share every single thing that I have with people. I remember my brother was in town one time about 10 years ago when I was really cranking in the business, and I was speaking at an event in Austin, which is where my market is. And I was speaking to about 100 agents, and he said, wait a second, you're going to go and you're going to teach all of these other agents all your tricks and ideas about how you became successful? And I'm like, absolutely. And he said, why would you do that? And I said, because, and this is sad, but I said, because 99% of those people in that room will listen and they won't do jack squat with it. But I want to give them the opportunity to use all of these tools. And I hope that they do. You know, it's just like with my agents that come here, I want to share with them as much as possible. I know that at some point they might leave me, but you know what? I want them to leave me and be the best person they can be.
Yeah. Yeah. Give them, you know, if somebody wants to spread their wings and go out there and do something on their own, I think that's the greatest compliment to you anyways, because you're the one that gave them the wings.
Absolutely.
Love it. Let's talk a little bit about lead generation. You're still good on time, right? Still got it?
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Let's talk a little about lead generation, because you're going to do well over 200 deals this year.
Yeah.
So where will the majority of those deals come from?
Sphere of influence, current clients, past clients, friends, neighbors, people I meet at the coffee shop, anybody. Okay. That's where 65% of my business comes from, personally.
Got it. So are you the kind of guy that just has, you know, a big network of people that you worked with in the past and you do absolutely nothing, people just come to you? Or do you continuously work on adding value to the people in your database and, you know, remind them of who you are to keep coming back to you? How do you get so many referrals?
I have a system. And I teach it. It's very simple. It's not easy to do. It wasn't easy yesterday to take an hour and a half out of
the volume again.
What is going on?
There you go.
Okay. It wasn't easy yesterday for me to take an hour and a half out of my day to write 10 personal notes to past clients, but I do that. I make 20 calls to my sphere of influence every week. That is my goal. It's not a huge goal, but it's not simple to get to either. It's not easy to pick up the phone, even though these people know me, like me, and have done business with me in the past. It's not easy. But it's fruitful. I also do a yearly client appreciation party called Rock and Restock, have about 1,000 people there. I am constantly working to ask my past clients in my sphere of influence to a lunch. I just got back from one here. Past client of mine, took him to lunch. I pay, of course. And we catch up, and then I come back to the office and I sit down in my top producer system and I take notes on what we talked about, what's going on with his family, how his daughter is, how his son is. And so I'm keeping track of those people in my database. I'm very systematic and I am constantly in contact with those people. I also do a monthly newsletter.
Good for you. Good for you. So I have a program called Listings on Demand, and it's a 12-week training. And the first thing we work on inside of Listings on Demand is obviously the mind and the plans, etc. Because if I can't get your mind right, it doesn't matter, you know, what I teach you in all the other videos. And then right after we work on your mind, we go directly into working on, you know, what I like to call is the most important system of all systems, which is, you know, your database, you know, of your past clients and your centers of influence, and building that. Because real estate agents, it's sad, but you know, what they do is it's like a wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, you know, kind of mentality is they do a deal. And then at the end of that deal is the end of the relationship. And you know, what I say is, like, if you're paying the price to build up your business in the beginning, you might as well build it up the right way and build that database, because eventually that database will feed you forever. Like in your case, you know, over 100 deals every single year just from your database.
Yeah, it's amazing. I tell my agents the same thing, and I'll tell you this: it's simple. Again, it's not easy. It's a pain in the butt for me to sit down and truly and honestly, I shouldn't be doing this myself, but I believe I should be doing it myself. So I do it myself. It's not easy sitting down and entering John and Julie Smith, 1425 Johnson Street, 78704, John at PGR Austin. It's not easy entering them into the database. It's just monotonous, kind of a pain in the butt. But I know how well it pays.
Yeah.
And so I do it, and I feed that database, and I meet people, and I ask for their permission to enter them into my VIP group of clients that gets information about the real estate market in Austin. And so it's not easy, but it is super fruitful and beneficial. And it's, I mean, that is my number one source of business. Awesome.
Awesome. Love it. And you said you used Top Producer CRM, right?
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Christian asking another question. He said, you know, you were talking about earlier, you talk to people everywhere you go, coffee shop, etc. He's wondering if you got like an elevator pitch, like, you know, how do you like, you know, what do you say to people when you meet them and let them know that you're in real estate? Do you wear a badge, etc.?
No badge. You know, it's amazing. For some reason, every conversation that I ever have in the world ends up being about real estate. And you know, my mindset and the mindset that I teach to my agents is it's really incredible. Every person that I talk to, for some reason, ends up doing business with me. That's my mindset. That's the attitude and the idea. Yeah.
Every person I talk to ends up doing business with me. That's an affirmation.
It is. That is my affirmation. And I add, it's amazing onto the end of that.
Okay. So I think, not necessarily for Christian, but I want to talk about this. I think a lot of people get in their head of like, you know, what do I need to say?
Can I finish one thing before? Okay. Because I want to address Christian and what he said. So Christian, basically what I do is I open myself because I'm a positive, energizing person that loves people. My fiance can't stand it sometimes, but I talk to everybody and I start conversations, and I don't ever bring up real estate. I talk about them. I listen more than I talk. Another affirmation of mine, I listen more than I talk. And I genuinely am interested in those people. I listen to them. Ultimately, they end up being like, who are you? What do you do? What business are you in? And I, of course, am talking to them about real estate. So to answer your question, Christian, that's how I do it.
Love it. So what I wanted to say about that, Chad, is that a lot of people are always, you know, wanting the, you know, next script. You know, they want the next objection handler. They want to know what to say, etc. Which is, in my mind, that's like that's like the second thing that you need. The first thing that you need is what we talked about earlier, which is the mentality. Okay. And then, because even if you have the right mindset, all the scripts and dialogues, they will help you. Don't get me wrong, you know, but they're very foundational. You need to learn to have conversations with people.
Yes.
Like, do you need a script to talk to your family members? No, you don't. Okay. Are you going to learn any new words from the English language? No, you're not. Okay. What you need to focus on is just believing in you. Believing that who you are is someone who is worthy of, you know, receiving, someone who's worthy of having, you know, someone who abundance wants to pay a visit to, and you just need to remove that block. Then naturally you'll begin to, you know, words will begin to flow right out of your mouth, and you'll be like, wow, like, where did this come from? And then it don't matter. It's coming from your positive mindset, etc. Perfect. What about, there, Christian says you're 100% right. That's awesome. All right. So brand new agent comes to work for you.
Yes.
Okay. Says to you, Chad, I want to become a top agent. What are the 5 things I need to focus on?
Mindset, lead generation, studying and learning and understanding the market, mastering open houses, building your database.
Bingo. So let's repeat that one more time. Mindset.
Yes.
Number 2, you said?
Number 2 was lead generation. Because we're nowhere without that.
Yep.
Number 3 was
study and know your market.
Study and learn and understand the market. Preview hundreds of homes a week if you can.
Okay.
Number 4, master open houses. Number 5 was what? Oh, build your database.
Build your database.
And
Awesome.
my future soon-to-be wife said scripts and dialogues.
Scripts and dialogues. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you very much for that, Chad. Anything else you want to say that without me asking it? Like, is there a question that I should be asking you that I haven't asked you that you want to answer? How do you like that question?
For me, it's about mission and values, right? So it sounds, again, kind of cliche, kind of funny, but I have a mission in my life. My company has a mission in life. That mission is very at its core. It's not, I will sell crap loads of real estate and make a crap load of money. My mission is to make a positive impact on the lives of everyone that I touch. I think it's extremely important for anybody in this industry, if they really want to make a difference, to focus on how can we make an impact on people in a positive way. Number 1, core values, understanding what you value. One of my first coaches, I don't know if you know Dirk Zeller, you probably do, you're in the industry. Dirk was one of my first coaches. He made me sit down and write out what my core values were. And I sat down and I determined these were I didn't really understand what he was talking about, but then I got it. It was what made me successful in the first place. And so I live my life and I understand what my core values are, and I keep them in front of me constantly. I talk about them with my agents, and I remind myself, these are the things that I value, and this is how I'm going to make my decisions.
Love it. Love it. All right. So Chad, we're running out of time real quickly. I mean, we can, me and you can go on for hours.
Yeah.
Out of respect for your time, I just want to say thank you very much for being, who you are. You're an inspiration, not only to your family and your community, but, also to, all the agents all over the country. You're a, top producer. Obviously, you're doing over about 250 transactions this year, something that everybody, strives to do, and you're doing it. And, you're openly sharing, all your secrets and, ideas and the things that you do. And I'm just super grateful to have the opportunity to, share a part of your name. I just added the I at the end, number 1, and number 2, to have you on the show and share you with the audience in the industry that I love so much. And I know there's a lot of people out there who know someone that either wants to move to Texas or sell their home in Texas, and they want to send you a referral and or connect with you. How can they get a hold of you and connect with you?
So ChadGoldwasser.com is my website. That is my personal website where I have stuff like you do. I do some teaching and training and some material like that. ChadGoldwasser.com. They can reach Pure Gold Realty from there. Also, my number direct, if you ever need me, if you have anyone looking to buy or sell real estate in Austin, Texas, it's 512-750-8333. And my email address is Chad, C-H-A-D, @PGR, as in Pure Gold Realty, Austin.com, Chad at PGRAustin.com. And anything that I can ever help you out with, I really appreciate this opportunity. I'm so glad that you and I connected last week. I love what you're doing. I love seeing other great people like yourself making things happen out there. This is awesome. And I commend you for all you do, buddy.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. And that's a wrap.